told that I should answer a few questions if any question you have. Please.
Mr. Sahba, I appreciate the design and architect of the structural elements are designed to probably last for generations.
Yes.
My question is, do we have the facility at the site once these structural elements are susceptible to the environment, they need repair or replacement?
They are using the best technology that exists in the world. You don't need to do it at site. There are, for maintenance, day-to-day maintenance, there are special office of maintenance. But for professional things, if you want to do that's not something that it happens every day. But for that, there are best experts that you can invite from all over the world. Like right now, what's happening in Chicago Temple, you don't have those people within. I mean, you cannot afford to have the best experts on marble permanently at your employment. I mean, but you can always get them. Yes, but there are office and people to take care of it. Yes.
How long did it take from scratch to what it is now?
What you see on from beginning to the end of the terraces, exactly. I finished the Temple of India in 1986. 1 month later, I was invited to Haifa, and we started work on the terraces and on buildings of the Ark. 1986. And in 2001, January, by January 2001, it was finished. In May, it was inaugurated. So 2001 and 1986. Let us say beginning of 1987 to beginning of 2001. It becomes how many years? 14 years. 14 years is the whole work at that time. 1 year also we did filing of all of the records and material. That thousands and thousands of documents was classified.
Now at the very top, you see like a hotel.
Yes.
Is it a hotel?
It's a hotel. Hotel Dan Carmel. Yes, that is a hotel that is very old.
Kind of contrast with the beauty of the...
Yes, I mean, you cannot have the entire city yours. This city, in fact, it grows very big right now. When we built the terraces, German colony was, Mayor of Haifa told me that the price of land in German colony has gone up by about 20 times since we built it. And when we started the work, I told House of Justice that if anybody wants to buy a land, is now the time, because we know what will be the future of this street. They don't know. But House of Justice said we are not in buying properties, and what we are going to do only to protect our shrines. So we built, in fact, later on, several people, newspapers, they started attacking the Baha'is or building, they're buying all of this. Some people that they want to cause trouble. They were saying that Baha'is are buying everything and this and that, and then the office of the Secretary General of the Baha'i World Center, of the Baha'i World Community, answered that this is the list of all of our properties. We own about 60 properties in the country. And these are all related to our shrines, and it's only for protection of our shrines. We have hundreds and hundreds of our Baha'i staff, thousands of our Baha'i staffs are living in rental apartments outside people. So we don't need to buy those things. They live there. But for our shrines, from time to time they buy something to make the garden a bit better or this and that. That's all. Yes.
Thank you.
I want to thank you because this is an incredible presentation. I have a question about the underground structures. Can you talk about those?
Yes, the underground structures are mainly car parks and service facilities, mechanical rooms, electrical rooms, all of that. This has been a story, this you know, some of the, mostly, you know that conspiracy theories of Israel is very well known. There are so many people that they wrote and they said, oh, Baha'is are built. From the time of Abdul Baha, when Abdul Baha was building the shrine of the Bab, people said Abdul Baha is building a fortress in order to fight the government, and these inspectors came to inspect and see what is that. Often they said that, and we have invited the press and showed them everything. We said, let's go and see the buildings. There is a documentary, in fact, on the internet about it, that one couple, they say that the Baha'is they have heard something. Then they come, and then House of Justice allows them to go with their camera and take picture of everything. So it's really, I have seen every single corner of that. My dear friend, Mr. Vusur, that is here, he was also in the office of building manager, so he has seen every single hole of that building, because we had the key to open, some of the keys open everything. So you go anywhere you want to see. There is nothing, it's all shelters, there are people, and storages and car parks. But so many, imagine how many cars are there on that mountain, you don't see one of them. They're all underground. And those, at the same time, those structures underground, the foundation should have gone that deep, because you are sitting on a mountain, you are sitting on a fault, earthquake fault. It's so important. So you have to go down. When you go down, you can fill it or you can make it open. And this has been, the buildings are all, under all of the terraces, there are something, you go under it, all of those fountains and pumps and filters, and our workers can go in and walk on those tunnels and repair things. That's for maintenance, but it's open. Yes.
Is there any future plans of actually expanding the gardens, and do you know if that is going to be in any timeline in the next 20, 30 years?
There is no plan, but I'm sure that if in the future, requirement is based on how many pilgrims you have. Right now, pilgrims start at the beginning. There was a small pilgrim house next to the shrine. Now, the number of pilgrims, facilities are more needed. People, they come. So a school was bought next to the place, and now that school is turned to a pilgrim place. Now, if there are thousands of pilgrims at certain time, maybe some other properties there will be built or will be bought. But at the same time, sometimes they say, municipality of Haifa tells the Baha'is that built some hotels. House of Justice says we are not in hotel business. You build hotel, get all of the Baha'i business. You have it there. House of Justice does not let any book or Baha'i things to be sold there. You cannot go to Haifa and buy books. Only people that they are working there is one office, a small. If you are working in Haifa, a new book comes, you can buy it for yourself. But not pilgrims, they cannot go there and buy 5,000 things. I mean, I published 50,000 books about the terraces. I published it for municipality. And I told, they brought Jews, children, in schools. They brought them, they sold to all the Baha'is. 50,000 books were sold to the Baha'is by them. We said, you do it. It's a good business for you. We bring, the business to the country. We are not in this business ourselves.
What is the expense for the landscaping and watering?
$60 million is the total cost of the terraces, all of that, including all of the lots of land was bought. There were about at least 6 buildings that had to be bought and demolished to be able to build the terraces. Some land was bought, lots of tax, municipality tax, building permit tax, and all of that. All of that total together, $60 million is the terraces.
Thank you, but I was wondering that how much is the expense for the landscaping and watering?
I told you,
on terraces.
The whole construction of the maintenance.
Maintenance for the plants.
It it depends what is the cost right now. That is, I think the total cost, first of all, you have to understand, we have all of our, it's a very interesting story, water, because city of Haifa is, water is very rare and precious in Israel. Often there is no sufficient water, and whole water of Haifa comes from the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus walked, and all of that water comes by pipe to the city. At the time of Abdul Baha, there is a pilgrim note that said that Dr. Iman wrote to me a letter, sent me a letter, and said there was a pilgrim note that said Abdul Baha explained to them today, was talking, he said there is a source of water on this mountain. In future it will be discovered, and it has sufficient water for entire mountain, for entire garden. So when I saw this letter, I said that this is now future. Abdul Baha said future, not future. 100 years has passed. So we have to find it right now. We started searching for that. Then, I don't want to go to all the details. Yeah, I had a consultant of a University of Technion in the city of Haifa, Technion University. That was water expert, Professor Sazlavsky. He was very outspoken man about the water in Israel, and he was talking. So I employed him as our consultant to tell us what he recommends we have to do, and we were talking about that. Suddenly, there was a very bad dry season in Israel. The Sea of Galilee went down below the danger level, and they were forbidding to use water for gardens. Newspapers of Israel, they published a picture of the terraces, and with computer they killed all of the greenery, and they said, publish it, and they said, do you want this to happen to a city of Haifa? If this dies, this is the face of the city, it will go. But they were talking about that. So right at this time, Professor Sazlavsky, that was our consultant, suddenly, because he was very critic of the government and all of that, was appointed as the water commissioner of Israel. So immediately I went to his office to Jerusalem, I met him, and I said that, Dr. Sazlavsky, you know that how much effort we have made and all of that. Please let us to search for this water, and we drill a well here, because all of the underground waters are government. You cannot use it. Completely forbidden. Even the well that was in Master's house, and at the time of Master, he used to pump water from that well is now sealed and forbidden anybody use it, because underground waters belong to Israel. Also, underground water are often polluted by chemicals that have been used. So it's not for permission. But he told me that because I know how much effort you have made, I will give you a special permission. He gave us a special permission for the well. And just for a few months he was water commissioner, then he changed. We found the location of the well, we drilled the well, but we have to filter it because we are the water is polluted. We have filtration, everything. So we have the water now for entire garden our own, but we still use with maximum, and all of our water is recycled. Our irrigation system is that Israel is a state-of-art in irrigation. There are really 8 zones of our gardens. There are sensors that they sense how much water is needed, only that much, because based on the depth of the root of a plant, you don't need to give too much water to every tree. Some root is only this much, some root is 5 meters, so it's different. So there's different zoning, and our water is absolutely intelligent, the water irrigation system. Several times, government of Israel, they bring ministers and experts from all over the world, and they show them our terraces as the state of art of irrigation. And we have all of that system. All of our fountains, water is recycled. Water goes up from, it seems that it's coming from the top of the mountain to the bottom and it goes back. But it's not like that. In fact, from every terrace comes down from one terrace and goes back. Goes constantly. The entire water consumption of those fountains throughout the day for 24 hours is hardly 1 bathtub for only the one that is evaporated, nothing else. It's very, very interesting. So this is so important. We have explained all of these things. Otherwise, you think people this will become an enemy of the whole country. People will say, oh, we don't have drinking water. They're doing this, but it's not like that. And all of the green that you see on that mountain, it's all camouflage. There are several zones. Central zone that is only the size that you walk around the terraces you see, that is, let us say, 30 meters, is green with grass. The central terraces is grass. And that grass is a special version of grass that is minimum water requirement, slowest growth, and the greenest color. It's chosen from almost 20 different grass by some PhD experts on grass only. I didn't know that there are PhDs in grass, but there are, and it's very good business because all the golf courses of the world makes them to give them advice. And the best of them are in Israel, and the best of them was the one that we consulted with him. And when I called him, he said, everything I do for you is free because everything that I do about gardens is because of my inspiration from your shrine. This was the only part, green part of Israel, of Iran, and I was inspired by that. So everything you want to do, I will do it for this. Dr. Biran, he did all, and several times I've invited him. Every time he said, all free. I owe you this. And he brought 20 different grass, then we growed, we experiment, and we said which one is better. So only that part is green. After that are ground covers. Most of them are succulents. They are green, but they are using minimum water. And after that, it's just completely the wildlife corridors, that they are all olives and trees that they don't need water at all. So it's just only the central. And we are constantly, it's a very interesting way. You can do that in every garden and make it intelligent. It's very difficult. It's, yes.
How far is the ocean from the how is Israel's plans for desalinization?
Israel is magnificent in desalination and in water now. Not at that time. They did it all later. Today, they are state of art. All water is desalinated. But don't forget, desalination itself is not that piece of cake. Because all the salt that you get, what you do with it? You put it back in the ocean. You know, so it's very difficult. It's not that you can turn all of the water of the ocean and use it. No, I think, in fact, I don't know. Arizona is one place that I always ask this question. I see so many lakes, all of them are false. You're drinking water that you are using it as beauty. As long as the United States is rich and there is no water problem, no problem. But if there is a water problem, we don't want to know what will happen to all of them, because it is serious. Today, the most important problem of the world is water. The city of, one of the cities of India last year, for almost a month, they did not have drinking water. Imagine a city with 10 million people, no drinking water. It's very important. Water is a major issue. And in my opinion, the main cause of the fight in Middle East is not one of the countries that we should be very, very, very worried about water is Iran. I don't know what will happen to Iran, because all of the historical ways of irrigation of Iran, that I was inspired by that. I did the research on that. I spent so many years on learning about Qanat system, water irrigation system in Iran, that was so heavenly. All of them is dead, all of them. And God knows what will happen. I mean, many lakes are dry, are dead now, many lakes, and the situation could become catastrophic. Situation of the world can become catastrophic. City of Delhi, when I built the temple of India, I did 12 tube wells. All of them would give water, very good water. We had open well that would give us wonderful water. None of them, they have water, all of them. 20 meters level, underground level of the city of Delhi, 20 meters gone down since we built the temple in 1986 up to now. And this is the city that the population has become 3 times since I was there. Imagine, you're talking about a city with 15 million people. Don't forget that 55% of the people of Bombay, the most expensive land on the world, more expensive than Japan, city of Bombay, 55% of the people, based on the latest, you can read it in Google, will tell you 55% of the people are homeless. Zaganishin. Homeless, you know, shanty town. They don't have a house. They don't have water. They don't. You have to see, when you walk, I've been in India for so many years, and I walked on the streets, and in the mornings you walk. All of the poor people, you know how they take shower? They don't have shower. They don't have water. They live on the street. They do all of their works on the street. Their toilet is right on the street. And when I walk in the morning, you will be shocked. In that cold weather in December, it's 4 degrees Celsius. It's quite cold. Many people die from cold. You will see so many women. You know how they take bath? They have these saris that they keep around them like a cylinder, and wash themselves in it on the street. As simple as that. At that weather, I mean, if they kill me, I don't wash myself in that weather, 4 degrees Celsius, with cold water. But imagine, this is the way of life for people. 55% of the people homeless is city of Bombay, based on United Nations. Search in your Google. Catastrophe is environment, is the water. Water and what will happen, yes.
When I was in pilgrimage, in November, they told us that the Ark was still incomplete.
Yes.
That there is one more building to be done, which would be an international library.
Yes.
And it would be to the left side of the Ark, next to the International Teaching Center. And when I was there, that space was occupied by at least one apartment building just a few feet away.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, has the land for the expansion, has that been acquired?
Many of those buildings are bought by us. I bought many of them when I was there, and later on also they've continued. So I would say about 60% of those apartments that you see, there are 4 or 5 buildings there. Many of them belongs to the faith. But that is a major challenge, because that street, Hillel Street, is a nightmare of traffic, and the building there, entrance of that building is a difficult challenge. It has lots of town planning, but that's not the main problem for not building. What we know as international library is not the exact word that, translation to English is international library. But beloved Guardian has called it the center of Darul Ulum wal Funun. That means center of the science and craft. Science and craft. And in fact, I wrote a letter to the House of Justice, and I asked this question when I was there, and I was responsible for all of those constructions and buying the properties. I requested from the House of Justice, and the House of Justice, and I mention that one of our very distinguished Baha'is, Mr. Azizi, that was a student of Sorbonne University School of Science, visited a shrine, visited Haifa, and beloved guardian, because he was a young man from Sorbonne and studying science, took special care to take him and show him around, and he dictated exact word that he has heard from beloved guardian, and beloved guardian introduced that as center of the science and technology, and he said that this is and craft, and he said that this is the building that the people from all over the world, the scientists and other, they come and get inspired by the holy writings and by the reference books, and will achieve inventions and things like that. So, and the House of Justice confirmed that this is absolutely correct, and this building today, it's by itself is, but House of Justice said that this building was not one of the buildings that, when at the time that beloved guardian referred to the buildings of the Ark as related to the lesser peace and this century and all of that, it was not there. Later on he added that. As the result, this can be built later. Not only the properties should be bought, also it's important to know what is the definition and the way of function of a center of science and technology. Today, even the definition of the library has changed. Hardly there is any library with the book anymore, new buildings. I visited Malaysia and they have built a beautiful library. There's not a single book there. Everything is computer. Everything is computer. Possibility. You don't know what is the meaning of library 20 years from now, 50 years from now. So that is something that the House of Justice have said, replied to me, and they said that is why we don't need to build the building of the library right now. But the House of Justice has a special office for purchasing properties, for all of that. And I know that quite a number of those properties are already bought. But those properties are not the only problem. The access, city planning, town planning, all of those things are very important challenges that it depends to the way of the function, how many people will come, will visit, what, all of those things.
Dear friends, we'll be taking one more question and then Mr. Sahba will be present during refreshments. You can meet him in person for further questions. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Sahba. I'm told that Mount Carmel is special because it has been prophesied in previous religions. Could you say something about that? And also that in the future, later on, kings and rulers of the world will arrive at the shores and walk up the terraces. Could you just say something about that?
Yes, these are mentioned by Abdul Baha in many of the memoirs of the pilgrims that Abdul Baha has said about the rulers and they will arrive from the city from the port. Based on all of that, the city of Haifa is right now planning to remove the all of that cranes, that industrial port will be closed and it will become open to like a open approach, open port. And this is what the city of Haifa in their town planning have promised based on vision of Abdul Baha. And in future it will happen, but that is one port. Another thing is that the Mount Carmel is mentioned in Bible, in Old Testament and New Testament as the vineyard of the Lord, and it has been the place of Elijah and prophets of God on that mountain. Mount Carmel is full of caves. Because of that, the cave of Elijah was there. The mountain has cavities, soft lime in those areas with the water has been washed, so there are cavities. And many people at ancient time, people would live there or bury people there. We came across a Byzantine grave when we were doing excavation, all of that. And so it's a very special mountain. It's mentioned in all by manifestations of God. We have lots of mentions by pilgrims from what Abdul Baha has said. But in writing, you have seen all that exists. But it has been known as a place of prophets of God from ancient time. That's why the Templars, they came, one of the places that they came to receive. Right at the year that Baha'u'llah arrived on Mount Carmel, right at that year, German Templars arrived expecting appearance of Jesus on that mountain. Right at that year. That's why the roundabout, the municipality of Haifa wanted to call that roundabout 1860. So that it's the year that Baha'u'llah came and German Templars came. But the House of Justice said that they do not like to combine, the story of the manifestation of God with some other things, and they did so that the roundabout is not named any differently, but it's just the year that German Templars arrived there, and they were expecting return of Jesus.
Thank you, friends. I would like to thank Mr. Sahba. Thank you. I would like to thank Mr. Sahba for taking time from his busy schedule and spending time this evening with us. We have been enlightened with knowledge that is very rare, very special, that we can only gain when we have you in our presence. Not all videos give us such detailed information. Thank you once again. Friends, our refreshments are available in the reception area. Kindly do not bring in the main hall any food or drink, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
The golden domed Baha'i shrine of the Bab is known as the Queen of Carmel. Can you tell us more about that?
Yes, this building is a very interesting building. It's actually in two parts. The first part was built in 1908 by Abdul Baha, who was the son of the founder of the Baha'i faith. He built it to house the remains of the Bab, who was the forerunner of the Baha'i faith. In 1950, Shoghi Effendi built a decorative superstructure over this tomb, basically, and what we worked on was this decorative superstructure of the tomb of the Bab. And there is a tile that Shoghi Effendi laid on the dome of the shrine. It was the first tile that was laid on the shrine, and during the restoration project, that tile was left, and you can see from the condition of that tile and the new tiles that we laid around it, what deterioration had taken place over this last 60 years.
Can you tell us more about the Bab's life?
Yes, the Bab was the forerunner to Baha'u'llah, who was the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith. He lived in Shiraz and proclaimed in 1844 that he was here to prepare the way for one who would come after him, the promised one of all ages who would come to bring about world peace. He was executed in 1853, and for a long period of time his remains were hidden in different parts of Persia. And in 1908, Abdul Baha, the son of the founder of the Baha'i faith, built a tomb for him, and his remains were interred there in 1900.